Hello, my name is Aaron Park, and this is 7th grade, lesson 37. So, for our first problem, a promoter of a rock concert distributed 72 yellow shirts to the visitors. Later during the concert, the promoter counted 8 visitors in those yellow shirts from a group of 1,000 visitors. Estimate the number of visitors at the rock concert. So, this is a ratio problem, or a proportion problem. Basically, we know how many shirts they gave out, 72 yellow shirts. And then we know that out of a group of 1,000 people, 8 of them had a shirt. So that means we had 8 shirts, 8 people with the shirt in 1,000 people. And 1,000 isn't everyone there. It's just a group of them. Just like how 8 isn't all 72 that are given out. Well, 1,000 is a part of the total, and in that part there are 8 shirts. So we can scale it up to the actual total. We know that there are 72 shirts in total. They have to be somewhere in the total number, but we're trying to find the number of visitors, x. Now, there's an equal sign here because you can see that this is two fractions, right? And it should be the same when they simplify because the total will have a similar or the same fraction of people with a shirt. Just like how there's 8 shirts in 1,000 people, there should be 72 shirts in whatever the total is. So really all we need to do is see what number turns from 8 to 72. What do we need to multiply by? And then multiply by the same. We know that 72 divided by 8 is 9. So if you multiply by 9, you get 9,000, which is our estimation. Alternatively, if this scaling up example doesn't work too well for you, you can use algebra and cross multiply. So you get 72,000 equals 8x, divide both sides by 8, and you end up with 9,000. As long as you're able to set up this equation, this ratio or proportion, however you want to call it, you should be able to get the answer. Corbin polled 50 people at the football game. 6 of them were women. If the total number of viewers at the football game was 6,000, estimate the number of women. So let's set it up again. We're going to have two fractions equal to each other. We want to find the number of women, x woman. I'll just write wom for short. Out of a total of 6,000 people, how many are women? Well, we know that he surveyed 50 people, so not all 6,000. That would take too much time. And out of the 50 people, 6 of them were women. Now let's scale it up or cross multiply. This time let's do cross multiplication. So 6 times 6,000 is 36,000 equals 50 times x, which is 50x. Then we divide both sides by the coefficient 50 to isolate x. You get a very large number, as is expected. 3,600 divided by 5 is 720 women. B. 3 out of 5 polled students are boys. The total number of students is 1,200. Estimate the number of boys. This is just like number 2. So, we polled 5 students, and 3 of them were boys. Boy out of 5 students. Now, the school has a lot more than 5 students. They have 1,200 students. And For every 5 students, 3 of them are boys. For every 1,200 students, let's see what x is. 5x is equal to 3 times 1,200, which is 3,600, divided by 5, and you get, coincidentally enough, 720 boys. I'll leave 4, 5, and 6 to you, as well as 7 and 8 and 9. These are all problems, just like the ones we did, where you will either find the total or however many, or the desired part of the total. Boys, women, whatever it is. Tag fish versus total fish. People who will visit again versus total visitors, and so on. Now, we are going to find the multiplicative inverse of that number. So, first, we need to know what the multiplicative inverse of a number is. We've heard of a reciprocal. That's the number upside down, flipped, the numerator and denominator. Well, the multiplicative inverse is kind of similar. Basically, a number times its inverse, let's call it ni for inverse, should equal 1. So, if we solve for the multiplicative inverse, dividing both sides by n, we get that the inverse is equal to 1 over n. And that looks awfully familiar. It is what you're thinking of. It is indeed the reciprocal. So, for our first problem, negative 18, the multiplicative inverse is the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of negative 18 is 1 over negative 18, 1 over n, or negative 1 over 18. Number 2 and number 3 are similar. Let's look at one of these fraction ones. How about the last one? Negative 5 ninths, negative 5 over 9. Well, the multiplicative inverse is the reciprocal. The negative sign stays, and then the numerator becomes the denominator, and the denominator becomes the numerator. So our answer is negative 9 to 9, 5. Thank you. That's all for today.